If you want to know what fascism really looks like, don't start with Orwell. Start with the readers who lived it. My name is Jamin, and this is part of my Literature as Resistance series, where I recommend books that challenge the idea that reading should be apolitical. When we think of anti-fascist literature, the same names crop up again and again: George Orwell, Aldous Huxley, Margaret Atwood. And while their work certainly matters, the conversation often stops short of the global south. But resistance to authoritarianism was not solely a Western invention. Writers across Africa, Latin America, Asia, and the Middle East have long been documenting, dissecting, and defying the mechanics of power, sometimes long before it had a name like fascism. And their stories weren't always allegorical. They often wrote in the aftermath of coups, under censorship, or from within exile. Here are 3 anti-fascist novels from the global south that deserve to be read instead of or alongside George Orwell. Number 1 is Season of the Rainbirds. After a judge is unalived in a small Pakistani town and long-lost letters mysteriously appear, a slew of hidden secrets, corruption, and the private lives of the town people are exposed. Like 1984, it excellently captures how authoritarianism seeps into the everyday corners of ordinary life. But unlike 1984, it gives voice to those who are often excluded from the narrative. Number 2 is The Real Life of Alejandro Maita. It follows a journalist in 1980s Peru who tries to uncover the truth of Alejandro Maita, a forgotten Trotskyist rebel. But every interview contradicts the last. So what emerges is not just a portrait of one man, but an indictment of how revolutions are co-opted and rewritten. Lossa exposes fascism's left-wing mirror, basically how ideals rot when power becomes the end goal. If Orwell wrote Animal Farm to critique Stalinism, Maita is an autopsy on ideals that decayed long before they ever held power. Number 3 is one of my favorites, which is Petals of Blood by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. It's set in a post-independence Kenyan village and follows 4 characters swept into a murder investigation. But what starts as a mystery unravels into a searing critique of neo-colonial corruption and the betrayal of liberal ideals. Ngugi targets the African elites who after independence become the new colonizers. So it's anti-fascism literature, and it's rooted in class struggle, global capitalism, and the aftermath of empire. Anti-fascism is a deeply lived resistance globally. And when we limit the conversation to Orwell or Atwood, we flatten not only what resistance looks like, but who gets to write it. These books are so important because they remind us that dystopia is not speculative for everyone. For many, it was and still is home. So read Orwell if you must, but don't stop there.